we're building for the consumer that's 20, that's used to ordering things on their phone, on the bus, on transit, on the way to work, on the way home, at night, 24/7. So have an offering that can serve that customer in real time whenever they want.
Welcome to the My Future Business Show, where we get you in front of your best audience and keep you there. Not only are we interviewing the biggest names in business to help you become even more successful, we're inviting you to book your spot on the show to help you grow your business. So at the end of the call, make sure you fill in the interview application form at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. Welcome back to the show that actually gets you in front of your best audience and keeps you there. My name is Rick Nusky. I'm your host. And today I'm on the line with the wonderful Roger Hardy. He's the co-founder and CEO at KITS Eyewear. And we're going to be talking about how KITS is disrupting the eye care industry and their plans for the future. And with all that being said, welcome to the show, Roger.
Well, thanks, Rick. Great to be here.
Yes, absolutely. You know, just briefly touching a little bit about, formalities prior to the call. And that's probably a really good segue to lead into the call today, because business is business, but there are always humans behind the business. And if you wouldn't mind, I'd love to learn a little bit more about you before we jump into the core of the call.
Sure. Yeah. Happy to give you a little quick background. From a business standpoint, myself and my sister started a small company about 20 years ago. Company grew very quickly, became NASDAQ listed, and was acquired back in 2014 for about $500 million in cash. Since then, I've been doing a bunch of investing and looking at a number of different opportunities, and met up with my two other co-founders, Sabrina Lack and Joe Thompson, here in Vancouver, BC. We got together daily down at KITS Beach, where we would watch the sunrise, get a coffee, and try to think about things that we could do that would be interesting and compelling in the consumer space. And that's how we came about to KITS Eyewear. Yeah,
fantastic. Now, where's home for you?
We're all Vancouver-based, the three of us, straight here in Vancouver.
Have you always been living there? Is that always been home for you?
It has, yes.
Fantastic.
West Coast.
Now, what do you do in your pastime? Do you have much time away from the business, given that it's so frenetic at the moment?
Well, great question. I sort of aspirationally like to go up to Whistler. I've got 4 kids, so we managed to take them skiing a few times this year, and then COVID interrupted the season, as you may know. But it snows out here, so winter is a time to get up to the mountains, and that was really the highlight. There's not been much else, just work and a little bit of skiing.
Yeah, wonderful. And we'll jump into that in a moment. But I'd love to learn about your life growing up momentarily. You now have 4 kids yourself, so you are flat out like a pancake baking, just keeping things all together, I'm sure. I know you are. So what do you remember as a child growing up? What was one fond memory that you can recall?
Sure. I think I've always had this entrepreneurial bent, and my mom tells a funny story about, the phone ringing one Saturday morning about 6 a.m, and it's one of our neighbors, and she says, that I'm at the door and I'm selling our used newspaper and Time magazines door to door at 6 a.m. And so the neighbors are like, disgruntled, come over and get them off my step. So I guess, that's sort of like, how I grew up, always sort of with an entrepreneurial bent. In college, I built a T-shirt business selling T-shirts. And so I've always had kind of this merchant idea. And that's kind of really who I've always been, probably less about the academics and more about the merchant nature.
Yeah, fantastic. Did you find that you learned more about the real world after leaving school?
Yeah, I had a lot of good experiences at Bishop's University, where I went, like I say, all the sports teams. I used to, have a business selling T-shirts and other garments. So those were some real world experiences. After that, I bought the rights to a music festival and did a bunch of other entrepreneurial ventures. So, business has been a constant teacher. I've always been fascinated by business, always excited about, learning and trying to get in front of trends and so on. And I guess that's what brings us to KITS is I'm just, we were really convinced that, health tech would be the next big growth category that we wanted to get in front of. And it feels like we're in the right place, and that, the next 24 months are going to present all kinds of opportunity in this kind of consolidation of health and technology.
Yeah, we're going to take a really deep dive into that in a moment. I just wonder, for the listeners, we are largely, small business owners, startup entrepreneurs, and that type of crowd.
Right.
What do you say to somebody who is starting out in terms of daily routines? Is it important to look after yourself as it is your business?
Wow, great question. I think, the elusive balance is a word that I think every entrepreneur pursues. It's tricky. If you have a family and you have a growing company, you're going to be hard pressed to find that extra bit of time in the day to keep your fitness up or to try to balance nutrition. I've sort of gone in fits and spurts. So when I sold my business years ago, I did a few Ironmans. So I was able to kind of make it up. And then now I'm back to the Ironman of business right now. And, trying to eat healthy and try to keep balance. But, gosh, it's tricky. I think, most of us get two legs of the stool right. It's getting that third one. For me, it's kind of reading and fitness that are just so hard to fit into the day.
We often hear about, the overnight successes, but there are often struggles that are the reality of starting a business. What can you tell us about failure and how has it helped you?
Yeah, I think the best thing about being an entrepreneur is you're going to have lots of adversity. You face adversity all the time. And the learnings are that, each time something doesn't work is to try to reframe it in your mind to the best you can, that it was a learning. They're not all good learnings, but they're learnings nonetheless. They move you closer to your goal. That's how I try to think of them. So I've had lots of setbacks in business in all different shapes and sizes, and then lots of big wins. And so I think it's, really about making sure that you're able to process it in the sense of what was the learning, what's the thing I can take away from that, and how can I use that going forward? That's how I think I try to frame it, and I hopefully instill in my kids.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Now, you briefly touched on, was it KITS Beach earlier? And is that the name of the place?
Yeah, KITS Beach. So it's right here in Vancouver. It's kind of an iconic spot where the ocean meets the snow-covered mountains of Vancouver. And, you can, there's a coffee shop right there to grab a coffee in the morning, watch the sun come up. And it's a pretty iconic place. Anyone who visits Vancouver generally would make a stop at KITS Beach.
Now, I'd love to learn a little bit about that particular meeting, that I guess the genesis of KITS. What sparked the idea? Where was the problem? What was the problem that you were trying to solve?
So my previous business was in eye care, and we'd had a fast-growing business, and really the optical, giant Luxottica and Essilor came along, and they thought we were growing a bit too quickly, and they acquired the business and kind of took it out of commission. And so the genesis was really, talking about and thinking about this opportunity, still this large fragmented market from our perspective that was still underserved. And so our view was that we could do a better job than what's out there if we really set our minds to it in terms of quality, in terms of service, in terms of selection. And so, some of the key tenets of the platform. And I guess the last piece was really this idea that technology was going to change that experience of going into an eye doctor and sitting in a chair and having that eye exam over a period of days or hours, that our iPhones would be able to do that fairly soon, or our Android phones in a matter of minutes at a low cost. And those phones just won't get that exam wrong. There'll never be that human component that doesn't see or pick up, the smaller details that a human might miss Friday at 4:00. Right. So, it got us excited that this technology was right on the cusp. And so using that as a catalyst to be, again, kind of a third pillar of our stool, around glasses, contacts, and then eyewear, we kind of thought about pulling all these things together.
So why is it that typically this industry is so expensive? Is it because there's only a select few large players? Why are they so expensive?
Yeah, so over time, the back end 51% of the market is still small, independent mom and pop. And if you think about what drives the back end of that, the frame, let's say an Oakley frame or a Ray-Ban frame, comes out of Luxottica, and the lens, whether it's a Crizal, a Transition, or other type of lens, comes out of Essilor. And those lenses are then cut in an Essilor lab and put in a Luxottica frame. So a lot of the margin, what drives the price up is that the back end is all done by Luxottica and Essilor, and these poor independents are left to they've got to upcharge, and the volumes tend to be small. A typical optical shop will sell 4 or 5 pairs of eyeglasses a day, and so the prices need to be high to sustain that. And so, when we looked at the category, we thought, gosh, there's a lot of opportunity here. Healthcare in general, the pricing has gone up at a rate much higher than GDP. It's one of the things that makes health tech, one of the categories that's most ripe for disruption. Is there's been a huge increase in pricing, huge increase in profits in health tech. And, that's why people say education and health tech are the two biggest categories for dispersion over the next couple of years.
Yeah, that's wonderful feedback. Thank you for sharing. Now, just so that everybody is as clear as crystal on KITS, this is more than just fashionable eyewear. This is actual prescription lens. Is that correct?
Correct.
How does it come together?
Prescription contact lenses as well as prescription glasses. And so, again, when we were building the company, we had the opportunity to start with a clean slate. And we said to ourselves, what are the biggest value drivers in consumer categories over the last couple of years? We arrived on subscription. If you think about companies like Apple and their move from transactional revenue to subscription, 20 years to get to $1 trillion, and then it took them only 9 months to get the second trillion when they moved people to subscription.
Yep.
You look at Amazon Prime, the number of people on Prime, that subscription model. Shopify, Chewy's is the most recent one, the dog food company that has everybody on dog food subscription. A $40 billion market cap and in a $35 billion market. So we knew that, subscription is a big driver of value in categories. Having customers be on a loyal subscription platform. So we started out with that as kind of our premise. And so today we've got a big subscription business. Second key pillar was around vertical integration. So, controlling the rails of production, making sure we can have the best quality and the best pricing. We don't need to go to Luxottica for a frame, and we don't need to go to Essilor for a lens. And we don't need Essilor to cut the lens. So making sure we had vertical integration. That's the second largest value driver. If you think of the last decade, companies going not just, retailing other people's product, but going direct and controlling the rails of production.
So those
are kind of some of the pieces.
Yeah, thank you. These are some of the fundamental shifts in the way that you operate, KITS operates, that is the disruptor in your industry. Would that be fair?
Yes, very, very much so. And then I guess lastly, focus on the consumer.
Yeah, fantastic. And quality is a given, isn't it, with something like this? And I often think about some of the manufacturing plants that I've seen over the years, and optics is especially high tech. Do you have a central hub or do you have multiple locations? What's the manufacturing side look like?
Yeah, you're right. Super important piece is to get the manufacturing right. So we're in the process of building out the state-of-the-art lab for North America. It's going to be the highest value, highest tech. We've got it about 20 to 30% of it constructed now. With our IPO, we have the proceeds to build out the rest. So it'll keep it that super high quality. And because it's automated, it'll make it among the most competitive from a price standpoint of anyone in the category. So we call that our Giga Lab. Just to keep it simple. We learned from Elon. You can see we're trying to model on all the best models that are out there.
Why not? And
so we talked about vertical integration, back to that lab, back to that key anchor piece of our business plan. And the Giga Lab is well underway, and we're having great results from that.
You talked about eye testing through your Androids and your Apple phones earlier. What market are you serving? Are you aiming at a younger market that's typically technically au fait, or who are you aiming at there?
Yeah, Rick, you're so right. When we looked at the category, it seemed to us that a lot of the players today were built for a customer 30, 40, even 50 years ago. Are your lens crafters, your Pearl Visions, some of your optical shops. That consumer is 60, 70 years old today. We're building for the consumer that's 20, that's used to ordering things on their phone, on the bus, on transit, on the way to work, on the way home, at night, 24/7. So have an offering that can serve that customer in real time whenever they want. So that eye exam takes up to 4 minutes as opposed to maybe the hour it took you to drive there and all the other time associated with going to an eye doctor visit. So 4 minutes on your iPhone, anytime, day or night, when it's convenient for you. And we think that's going to be a big driver of value for our customers. And by the way, we include that with your order. There's no charge for that.
I was going to say, is that costly? Because, every time I go to an eye care clinic, and it takes time, and it takes a long time to actually get through the test, and it's confronting, and all of this from from the seat at home.
Yeah, all this from the seat at home. And you're right. It's an awkward process where that prescriber is also a retailer. I kind of get there and I feel guilty. And do I have to pay that much? And I guess I should because you're my eye doctor. We take all that awkwardness out of the transaction. We put the power in the user's hand, and it just takes minutes.
I'd love to learn a little bit more. We've talked about manufacturing just briefly, Roger. Thank you very much for that. I'd now like to shift in terms of your development plans for procurement and fulfillment processes. What's that going to look like in the future? And do you have plans on expanding internationally? Those sorts of things?
Sure. So from a procurement standpoint today, I had the benefit of 15 years in the category, sourced the planet for the best suppliers, highest quality materials from titaniums, acetates, hinges. So we've sourced all that from the lens component, state-of-the-art lenses, again, the manufacturing equipment. I feel like we've done all that over the course of 15 to 20 years, pulled that all together. So all those pieces, that recipe is well built, and we're quite happy from a procurement standpoint. And sorry, Rick, what was the second part of your question?
Oh, just wondering if you're having plans to go internationally, because I notice you have currency exchanges for US, Canadian, European, and Great Britain at the moment.
We find we get orders from all over the planet. We've got, again, a great offering. People are excited about the style of the frames, our silicone hydrogel contact lens, which is, about half the cost of some of the bigger brand name lenses, super high quality, high oxygen transmissibility, healthy for your eyes, but at a much more affordable price. For lots of people, the price of contact lenses is prohibitive. It can be $450 a year for contact lenses. Our daily contacts would be a fraction of that, maybe a quarter of the price. So people get excited about that. Orders come in from all over. We do see some national expansion. Today we're in North America, but new markets will be coming on stream.
Yeah, thank you. This is a great call for those who are interested in investing in such a wonderful, rapidly moving business such as KITS. Now, I'm looking at some things here, and I wonder, I'm seeing at least the dying off of the, traditional bricks and mortar shop fronts. Are you working with any retailers in this respect, or are you purely going to be online, especially in North America?
Yeah, Rick, we see a lot of opportunity to partner with some of these retailers to literally become the back end that they were previously beholden to, the cartel that I mentioned, EssilorLuxottica. So to the extent that they want to work with us, we've got a state-of-the-art lab. We can do things more cost effectively for them. We've got a couple of partnerships that we think will be coming on stream over the next couple of quarters. And that's a big, big opportunity for us. The other thing is some of the healthcare providers. Again, health tech being this category that's looking for a better way to do it, provide more value for customers, which is what we do. So if we can partner with one of those networks that's maybe they're doing dental and eye care for 4 or 5 million members, and we can take over that eye care component, make it easier for that PBM or that healthcare management company to manage their customers and give them a better experience, then we see that as a big growth opportunity.
Roger, I'm watching the stock markets, and I've seen some incredibly rapid, almost vertical growth for KITS. How is that? What do you attribute that to? That rapid success, if you like?
Yeah, I think like a lot of things, experience helps. So having been in the category, having a great team helps. So we're fortunate to have, as I said, our CFO was 15 years at Goldman Sachs in New York. Our other partner, Joe Thompson, worked at Amazon for a number of years, so learned the kind of principles of Amazon. Before that, he was at P&G, in some of the great companies that P&G owns under the brands like Gillette. So he had worked there. So we've got like a robust team of experienced professionals coming in here, not for their first sort of, first rodeo, learning, but for, I didn't want to say it, but first rodeo. It's not their first rodeo. They're here kind of back doing it again, and they've all been here and done it before. And I think that accelerates it. Everybody knows what they expect from their teammates. They work well together. And that just takes a lot of the friction out of, growing a business.
Yeah, because that's one of the things I look for, Roger, when I'm looking on the stock exchanges. I'm looking for, that credibility, that reliability, that, I guess, that relatability almost. And the fact that you've got some track record behind you and your wonderful team is a credit to you. Now, I'm also about process control. I'm also about quality. I'm also about understanding the end user's experience. I'm wondering if you can tell us a little bit about, the ordering process from start to finish, and what happens if there are any issues at the end.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think that the ordering process is designed to keep things fairly efficient for consumers. The last year has been a mass migration from offline to online. We've seen kind of 10 years of migration happen in the course of 10 weeks last year.
Yep.
So we try to keep our ordering process as easy and as frictionless as possible. I think that's really the key for us, is to try to, reduce the time a customer needs to spend, whether on our site or on the apps. And so, I think the process is pretty straightforward. They can go on the site, decide if they want contacts, decide if they're looking for glasses, and then it's, 2 or 3 clicks and they're out the door.
They're out the door. Wonderful. Now, in terms of, unfortunately with any business, I guess there'd be a percentage of returns for whatever reason. They might have been whatever. Do you have a returns process? What does that look like for a customer, just to make sure that they're absolutely delighted?
Yeah, and so one thing I didn't mention is we focus very actively on making sure customer satisfaction. So we've got the highest customer satisfaction as measured by third-party tools like Google.
Yep.
And many of the other satisfaction metrics. So we have a 100% return policy guaranteed. We'll pay for you to ship it back to us. If the customer isn't happy, we take it back, no questions asked. We will, of course, try to find them something that serves them better. If they got something that didn't work, we want them to be happy. We want them to be more than happy, satisfied, and hopefully pleased and delighted.
Yep.
That's really what we play for. So, but if anybody has and we have a very, very low return rate. So in our contact lenses is less than 1%, and our eyeglasses is less than 8%. So we think that, and from time to time, a pair of glasses, you want to change them out. That's no problem. We get people to send them back. They wear them, they go to work, their partner maybe says, hey, those aren't the right glasses for you. Someone tells them that. No problem. We want you to look great in our glasses. Otherwise, it's not going to work for either of us. So and that's just part of the game, and it's all part of taking good care of our customers.
Yeah, fantastic.
At scale. So we're selling thousands and thousands of eyeglasses per week, direct in this way. Customers tell us it was much easier than going into a store. They tell us it was much more cost effective, and that they are going to come back and they're going to refer friends and family. So that's the music to our ears we're looking for.
As an investor, I think to myself, what a wonderful business, well positioned. It's avoided a large part of the pandemic issue that is striking all of us, because it is online. There's lots of great things coming out of KITS. It's a credit to you. Now, I'm wondering, what are the tickers for KITS if people want to learn more about them?
Yeah, sure. So we recently listed on the Toronto Stock Exchange under the ticker KITS, which is KITS. And then in the U.S., we are KTYCF. So those are the tickers.
That's easy to remember, and I'll be making sure that detail is provided at the bottom of the post when you get to read it a bit later on. Now, Roger, can you talk us a little bit through what somebody will see when they get to the website itself, and where do they go?
Yeah, sure. So go to kits.com and they'll see, hopefully they'll feel welcomed by the page and see, like I said, a choice of glasses or contacts. We try to make it easy for them, and they can go through that checkout process. They can see on there some of the online vision tools, a PD tool, which measures your pupillary distance. They can see an eye exam on there, and they can go through that process and test their vision. They can go through the process, place an order in as little as 4 or 5 minutes, save themselves time. The average order size for us is about a third of what it would cost at traditional retail.
Yep.
And, we've got an offer right now that their first pair of eyeglasses is free. We're so sure that, for customers of yours, Rick, and friends of yours, that they'll become a customer for life, that we have a promotion where we give them their first pair of glasses. Unfortunately, for glasses wearers, we know that once you're in eyeglasses, you tend to be in them for many, many years, 10, 20 years. And so a customer like that needs more than one pair of eyeglasses, especially the young type of customers that we're serving. So we like to get that first pair in, get them, delighted with the experience, and we know they stay with us for a number of years. So that's kind of what we're doing.
I love the model because you're creating a relationship. It's not purely transactional. It's really going to go well for you. And I'd love to just, if I could, Roger, just share with the audience the free KITS offer. If you go to kits.com, which you'll find down the bottom of the post here, you'll see a code there called free KITS. It's one word, all uppercase. It's FREEKITS. And with all that being said, Roger, I've just had such a wonderful time spending some time with you on the My Future Business show today.
Great chatting, Rick. Really appreciate it. Look forward to updating you as things progress here.
Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed the call, then make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, share us with your friends, and book your spot on the show at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. And if you're looking for solutions that will help grow your business, then visit myfuturebusiness.com/shop.